Alcohol is a portal to negative spirits and is purposely sold to keep you trapped in a low vibration. Why do you think alcohol is referred to as spirit? The word alcohol derives from the word al-kol, which in its Arabic translation means body-eating spirit. Every single time you drink, you pollute your energetical environment so bad that your soul literally leaves your body until it's safe to come back, while these negative entities take your body out for a ride. This is why when you drink, you black out and don't remember a thing. But even before you black out, you're still in such a low vibration that the side that you repress the most feels comfortable enough to come out. This is why you'll see your friends and family turn into completely different people when they drink. And why would this be legal and sold, you ask? Not only does it bring in billions of dollars yearly to big corporations, but it numbs down your truest self, keeping you in a low vibration. So your fear holds you back from tapping into your true spiritual power and abundance, ultimately enslaving the population to keep them under control. What are your thoughts on this? And if you want to reach your highest spiritual potential, check out the top of my page.
Just thinking about it and how people behave and what they do after taking alcohol is just, you know, people do some crazy outlandish stuff. So I think she's spot on with what she's saying. I'm not really, you know, I don't know the backstory, but you know, from people's behaviors, there's something there.
Ford said, "It is well enough that the people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." Ford here is talking about fractional reserve banking, which essentially allows bankers to make money out of thin air. It started in the 17th century when people traded with gold, but it was too heavy to carry around, so they had to store it in vaults. The vault owners, who are today's bankers, would store the gold and exchange it for a paper receipt, the first form of paper money. Noticing that only a few people would withdraw gold at once, vault owners began issuing receipts for more metal than they had. They loaned out those receipts and charged interest on gold that they didn't really have. So while the rest of the people had to go out and work for their money, the bankers were able to make it out of thin air.
Keep the phone in your pocket or you will exceed the as-tested exposure guidelines. Now, how many of you knew that before today? Because they actually are now giving people this information. Telstra is telling you to use a hands-free device to keep a mobile phone away from the head and body. Because mobile phones and Wi-Fi devices emit pulsed microwave radiation. 900 times a minute, it's looking for a signal. It says to the tower, "Where are you? Here I am. Where are you? Here I am." It's smart. That's how it's supposed to do. Now, when the phone rings, the worst time for you to put a phone right next to your head is when you answer it and say hello, because it's smart and it goes to max power and bone marrow. And look here at the radiation as it gets into the groin area. And that's just from having a mobile phone modeled into the pocket. The United States magazine Consumer Reports recently recommended that nobody keep a phone in their pocket. Nobody. And in fact, if phones were tested in pockets, they would exceed the as-tested exposure guidelines, which is why Telstra has recently issued that advice.
Tell me what you guys think about this story, that we shouldn't be keeping our phones in our pockets, you know, because of the radiation they are emitting. But, you know, I know about RFID blocker cases, I think, something like that. But really, how can we protect ourselves from all these electromagnetic waves in the air? How can we really shield, you know, our loved ones and, you know, our kids from all these waves that are being, you know, we are being told are harmful? You know, tell me what you guys think about this story, about this, you know, Wi-Fi and, you know, phone radiation levels being unsafe. I've also heard about the earpods. So give me your thoughts down in the comment section below.
If you use a plastic cutting board, it's probably messing with your hormones. It's estimated that we ingest up to 50 grams of microplastics a year just from our cutting boards. That's like eating 2 AA batteries worth of plastic a year. Instead of plastic, try a wood cutting board. They're naturally antimicrobial, will last you way longer, and won't mess with your hormones.
technologies right now, and they have been. I've been sitting on this for 7 years without talking about it. And here's the basic idea. Resonance frequencies. Everything vibrates. If we had an electric razor, plugged it in, turned it on, set it on this table, it's going to move around, isn't it? That's the beginning of the concept because it's vibrate. Everything vibrates at a frequency, and if you know that frequency, you can control things. And I think that's the basic idea of what we're looking at here.
So somehow through this technology, they're able to move stones or cut stones or all the above?
All the above. And it's all based upon the ancient numbers.
Guys, I think this is really how the pyramids were built, you know, because these pyramid stones are too heavy for even these guys to be able to, you know, move right now with the kind of machines we have. Just think about in the ancient times, those Egyptians must have had a certain different kind of knowledge that we don't have right now on how to, you know, vibrate these tones and move them through, you know, these frequencies. I really don't know, but, you know, you can tell me other ideas that you have down in the comment section.
All right, I just want to provide a little context. So the women at the top are porn stars and they're at a porn conference. The women at the bottom, they are professional actresses and singers in Hollywood. But I want to just kind of remind you that Hollywood has a way, America has a way of making bad things appear good. For example, smoking used to be a big thing in Hollywood. They used to have people smoking cigarettes left and right. So cigarettes were also addictive. They wasn't advertising that part. And then by the time you got to the 80s and 90s, people were dying from smoking cigarettes. But America was pushing cigarettes on people all through Hollywood. So
I saw a vision so frightening it staggered my mind. Worldwide recession caused by economic confusion. Get your house in order because hard times are coming. I saw nature having labor pains. Worldwide disasters that we're witnessing right now, which are going to become more and more frequent and more intense the closer we get to the birth of the kingdom of God. Tornadoes, hailstorms, floods, and hurricanes are going to pound the earth with such intensity and violence that all of mankind is going to have to admit the world is under supernatural siege. I see the prophecy of Nahum coming to pass in the very near future. God said, I'll pour abominable filth upon you. This means R-rated movies within the next few years on network television. It means sex education classes in school will be using filmed, dramatized sexual intercourse. And when it appears the nation's returning to old-fashioned moral standards, suddenly the floodgates are going to swing open and Satan is going to vomit filth out of hell. And it'll be just as it was in the days of Lot and will vex the souls of God's most devout saints.
Why do cats...
Guys, what that guy has said is really like, he really, you know, these things that are happening now in the end times have been prophesied. And you can just see the craziness going on in places like the Western world. And these, you know, all this stuff about, you know, you can be somebody who you're not. And, you know, it's just crazy, guys. I mean, especially pushing things to kids which are not really like, you know, the norm, or what is the, you know, what is just like the norm, you know, thing for everybody to do. So like, you know, we are in the end times, and I don't think even if there's pushback, you know, these guys are powerful, so you can't really push back a lot. So it's just that, you know, we have to open our minds and realize what is really being done, and, you know, how to mitigate it.
It's not display the same hip dysplasia and some of the other connective tissue disorders that dogs do. And the answer to that is because they purr. They are little physioacoustic generators, and they have an innate ability to know how to heal people. They like to climb on people, and they seem to have an understanding of when somebody's in pain, and they go right to that area and they purr. The American Veterinarian Association has stated that the reason that cats don't have connective tissue disorders is because they do purr. That's physioacoustic therapy right there.
How else do you explain U.S. interventionism throughout the world? What are the alternative explanations? That the United States has gone in to defend democracy? Well, that can't be, because we supported dictatorships in most of these countries. We supported a fascist Somoza in Nicaragua, a fascist Batista in Cuba. Again and again, country after country, we didn't support democracy, we support fascists. And in fact, we've overthrown democracies. We overthrew democracy in Guatemala when Arbenz came into power. We overthrew democracy in Brazil when Goulart came into power. In each one of those countries, different leaders, different countries, different histories, different languages, different cultures, but they all had one thing in common. They were beginning to use the political system to tamper with and change the economic and class structure. What Allende was doing in Chile, very democratically, was redistributing some of the gross national income from those who made money from dividends and interest and commissions and rents to those who made money from wages and salaries. Unemployment went down in Chile. Inflation was going down. The rate of inflation was going down. Buying power was increasing for the ordinary people. Popular consumption was increasing. The level of living was bettering in a modest way for the people. Every child in Chile was getting a half a liter of milk under the Allende regime. And when the fascist Pinochet came in, that was one of the first programs he abolished.
UK doesn't have finance. The City of London has, and it's not part of the UK.
Good answer. Good answer. It's international, he's right.
The City of London is outside the United Kingdom. Do you know that? It's really shocking. And therefore it's also not part of the EU, which explains although it couldn't be part of the EU because you have to have democratic elections, and the City of London doesn't, right? It's the banks that have the votes, right?
Right.
Per staff, you know.
I never knew
How do you start unpicking this puzzle?
I never knew that. That's a very useful piece of information.
And of course, it's not part of the
UK. Dangerous piece of information.
And it's not part of the UK because the Queen is not allowed to enter without permission. She's not the sovereign, therefore it's not part of the UK. It's, you know, and of course
Guys, the Queen cannot, that's when she was alive, couldn't enter the City of London without permission. Guys, I don't know if you're hearing these things. I mean, this information is just for entertainment purposes, and you really have to go and verify and do your own research, and don't just take it for face value. But this is some crazy stuff.
Since 1688,
I have to make a note.
Since the foreign invasion.
Do you know why casinos don't have any windows or clocks? It's because they want you to lose track of time and stay there longer. And malls usually have food courts on the top floor, which forces visitors to walk past stores while using the escalator, so they're more likely to buy something on the way. Grocery stores discourage people from leaving without buying anything by making it so that the only way to get to the exit is by awkwardly walking through a checkout lane. Coffee shops usually have very dim lighting because it makes guests feel comfortable and encourages them to stay longer, so they're more likely to buy food or more coffee. On the other hand, fast food places are brightly lit because customers tend to order their food and drinks in one go, so there isn't as much of an incentive to have them lingering around. And amusement park maps look straight up goofy on purpose. They map out the location of the rides relative to each other, but the pathways are not clearly defined, so you'll wander around and spend more money. So people always say that IKEA is like a maze, and they're not wrong. The store is designed to create a fixed pathway that leads customers in one direction and exposes them to almost all the products in the store. And another way that grocery stores make you spend more money is by placing essential items like milk and eggs all the way in the back of the store, so you have to go through other aisles to get to it.
Guys, they just, this is all such a psychology game. Everything in the world that we were walking around, everything is marketed to us, everything is advertised to us. I think we really need to think about the concept of consumerism and realize that we don't need a lot to survive. We don't need too much to survive. I mean, because it's getting out of hand. We're being told we are supposed to buy this, have that, and it's just getting out of hand.
Today's concentration camps, promoted as smart cities, are equipped with sophisticated non-stop surveillance technology, ensuring no escape. Who ignited toxic chemical fires within weeks in South Africa, Norway, Italy, Ohio, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Hawaii, and Montreal? Food plants and farm animals are also under siege. A barn fire killed 10,000 pigs in Illinois. This is World War III. The objective is to establish the Fourth Reich. The Nazis were never vanquished. Our choice is clear. Either we assert our freedom and our rights as free human beings, or we will succumb to a global catastrophe far exceeding the magnitude of the Holocaust. Please consider viewing my documentary series, Never Again Is Now. This 5-part episode features Holocaust survivors, second and third generation relatives, Dr. Zelenko, Dr. Eden, Rabbi Green, as well as German and Israeli freedom fighters. Their insight will...
This lady's important because she's the only woman seen continuing to stand up as shots rang out. Everyone is seen running in opposite directions or hitting the ground. She remains poised, continues taking pictures of the assassination. The FBI said that they looked for her for years and could never find the identity of this woman. But we don't fuck around here. We like to do people's jobs for them since they're so terrible at them. So here we fucking go. That lady is none other than Philippine Rothschild of the Rothschild family. If you're not familiar, they own 80% of the world's wealth and have been starting wars for hundreds of years and overthrowing them. Not surprising to find a Rothschild with a front row seat that the FBI says that they could not locate, knowing damn well she was protected by 4 CIA agents right here in the picture. Spotted here with David Morales, Gary Hemming, and Luxin Kunin, all CIA agents. What do you guys think? Drop a comment, share it, it really does help. Thanks so much, and that's G.
Who had a company called Lucifer Publishing to write out the philosophical underpinnings of the United Nations. She turned it into something called Lucis Trust, which still to this day exists at the United Nations as a meditation room with a big black cube in the middle and 1,000 points of light coming through the roof. And she wrote the 10 rules for the one world government, which still exists at the United Nations today. And they are, okay, take God and prayer out of education. Number 2, reduce parental authority over children. Number 3, destroy the traditional Christian family structure. Number 4, if sex is free, make abortion easy and legal. 5, make divorce easy and legal, free people of the concept of traditional marriage. 6, make homosexuality the alternative lifestyle. 7, debase art, make it run mad. 8, use media to promote and change mindset. 9, create an interfaith movement without God. And 10, get governments to make all these laws and get the churches to endorse them. Let's just say the one thing not welcome at the United Nations is God. You had a company...
This is just... Guys, we really have to understand that who is controlling the world, who is making rules for the whole world, and why should they have that kind of power? You know, as a collective, you know, species, as human beings, we should ask ourselves, why should a few people have rule over the many, you know? And if it's so, what can be done to return the balance? And we have to just be on the lookout, guys. These things nowadays are really spooky.
Oath of secrecy of Freemasonry. I, of my own free will and accord, that I will hail, ever conceal, never reveal any of the secrets, arts, parts, points, or points of the Master Mason's degree. Now, would you trust someone to teach you if they were under this oath? All of the so-called astronomers who taught you on a globe were all Freemasons. Copernicus with the Masonic compass, Kepler with the Masonic compass, Galileo with the Masonic compass, Isaac Newton. All the people who implemented the globe and space model were all Freemasons, including the people who went to the moon. Why are we learning of people who are under the oath of secrecy? They've programmed us to believe we're on a ball, flying through space, and we all came from monkeys. I think it's about time you questioned reality, and really questioned, do you really believe this?
Isn't it true that you want to fly commercials so that you can fly in luxury? How much money did you pay for Tyler Perry's Gulfstream jet, for example?
Well, for example, that's really none of your business, but...
Isn't it the business of your donors?
Listen, I paid. The airplane that we have that I bought from Tyler Perry, and I didn't pay anywhere. Tyler's one of the greatest guys. He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it. I love your eyes.
Again, getting back to the comment, you said that you don't like to fly commercial because you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers.
Yeah, so to be clear, I think one of the things we're talking about here is that there are now weapons under development and developed that are designed to target specific people. Right, that's what this is, where you can actually take someone's DNA, take their medical profile, and you can target a biological weapon that will kill that person or take them off the battlefield or make them inoperable. So you can't have a discussion about this without talking about privacy and commercial data and the protection of commercial data, because expectations of privacy have degraded over the last 20 years. Young folks actually have very little expectation of privacy. That's what the polling and the data show. And people will very rapidly spit into a cup and send it into 23andMe and get really interesting data about their background. And guess what? Their DNA is now owned by a private company and can be sold off with very little intellectual property protection or privacy protection. And we don't have legal and regulatory regimes to deal with that. So we have to have an open and public discussion, and this is going to have to be a political discussion about what does the protection of healthcare information, DNA information, and your data look like, because that data is actually going to be procured and collected by our adversaries for the development of these systems.
In Gargoyle before? Welcome to Illuminati headquarters. I mean, Denver International Airport.
This is awesome.
From the few videos that we have seen, I think some of them are really mind openers. Thank you for watching till the end, guys. If you've done that, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe if you feel inclined to, and let's meet on the next video.